the Keith Lee effect is real.
Yeah.
Before Keith Lee, I had 20 TikTok followers. I've now.
Do you think it's only COVID that killed the city, or do you think the police played a part?
The police played a part.
What was that form called again?
696. The 696 form.
Yeah.
So,
And for those who don't know, can you just explain what that was again?
So the 696 form was basically if you wanted to do a promoted event, and it only applied to promoters. It didn't.
What type of promoters? Sorry.
Applied to black promoters. You basically had a form that you had to fill out. I'm going to look down the barrel of the lens. You had a form to fill out. You had to put down your name. You had to put down your address. You had to put down which DJs are DJing on there. You had to put down. You had to put down full government, passport, everything.
Everything.
Where they lived, their phone numbers and everything else, their DJ names and everything else. And then you had to put down. I think you had to put down the names of other venues that you've done events in and everything else. And then they'll go away and then check to see whether or not you're suitable enough to be in the venue. Now, the 696 form had to be sent in and completed 14 days before your event. So the police could come back and say, or the licensing department in the police, they could come back and say, nah. And then you're now stuck with...
Bro, they did that to me in, what's that? Is it Lime Bar or... I can't remember the name. It's on the side road. Very nice venue.
Or which street? What?
It's in the city.
Lime.
There's a venue called Lime Bar in the city.
Yeah, I think it's Lime Bar.
Yeah.
But it was on side road anyway. Literally 20 minutes before the doors opened, they just marched there and just stood in front and said, "Yeah, your party's not going on." They said,
"Are people coming?"
Yeah. Then they said, "Oh, someone made a phone call and said, there was going to be someone come today to shoot up the place."
Yeah.
Then literally everyone who was on my phone, I sent a broadcast and I said, stay tuned for change of location.
Yeah.
Then big up, what's his name, man? What's the name that does Afro Nation? Smade. Big up Smade. Smade saved me still. So Smade had a party in the venue, like walking distance.
Yeah.
And then he had space in the upstairs. The upstairs wasn't open originally, so the party was meant to be downstairs. Made a phone call. I said, "Smade, this happened to me." I said, "Bring your crowd."
Yeah.
Diverted everyone there. 2 days later, the police phoning me. "Oh, you should have
done that.
used the tickets. It was your event." I said, "Mate, did anything happen at Smade's? Was there any trouble?" I said, what had happened was there was another promoter. I'm not even gonna say who, but there was a dance around the corner from me and Smades. Me and Smades. The person knew who I am.
Yeah.
His thing was looking.
So basically, he tried to shake.
Yeah. So that everyone could, you know what I mean. So his thing was looking dead that day, like we'd run into the ground. So he was trying to capitalize and think, all right, cool. If my rave gets locked off right before everyone's already in the city, they're gonna have to go down there. The problem with that is people didn't want to go to your dance. People used to come to Laws of Attraction because we kind of built a hype. You get what I'm saying? Like we used to do a thing where with tables now, if you spent the most, I used to give you wrestling belts. So I used to make you the champion of the night. So I used to hype the man and all of that, you know what I mean?
You guys did your events so differently. I did none of that stuff. You know, one of the things I used to do in my parties was that I always used to say my events were like Switzerland. Like I'd have some goons there, but the goons will come down knowing that it's a proper. And then I'd have ladies come down and the ladies would be like, okay. So I didn't do, for me, I'd rather everyone come down, have a great time. I'm not trying to hype you. Music and alcohol in dark spaces don't mix. It just does not mix. And if you're encouraging people to drink is a surefire way to problems.
Now you see me, I used to do that. All the girls that they liked and keep them floating in tables in between. So the girls don't have to pay crazy for a table, but if you're filtered in between, that drink they're spending is just sliding over.
Just out of curiosity, what did you tell your dad you was doing? So when you started doing promoting, so how did you package it to him? So you're leaving the house at a certain time, and you're not coming back at a certain time, and you're 20, how old?
I'm 20, I started events when I was like 22, 23.
So explain how you package it to him.
So let me just backtrack. My mum and dad separated from an early age, so it's like me and my partner were together at this time here, and she saw the potential in what I was doing and everything else. It was hard work. It's hard, like when you're leaving your house at 9, 10 in the evening, 11 o'clock in the evening, to say you're going out to give out flyers and you're going to be back home at 3, 4 in the morning. It's wild. Yeah. You know, but it's one of these things where I was so focused on like the one thing about me is that if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to make something that I'm going to do it until I know I can't do it anymore and it's failed. I'm going to do something till it's a success. So when I'm going out flyering and when I'm going out promoting, I'm going out, like for me, that's my 9 to 5.
Now, what is a negative side to that good trait? So let's flip it on its head.
So the negative side is that sometimes you're being very stubborn when you're flogging a dead horse and the horse is already dead. And
keep going.
I'm just like, I'm going to keep on going because I don't, you know, I think Einstein said then the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. You know, for me, I've never looked at life like that. It's like, right, I'm going to do something and I'm going to do it to make sure it's a success. Once I know I've got something, I'm like, alright, bet. Yeah. It's the same thing with my tours. You know, when I first started doing my tours and everything else, I remember going out to meet people with one person to walk around Brixton to say, yeah, come and eat food and let me show you the history of Brixton, blah, 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 and everything else. Let's go and get. And I was actually spending my money to take care of one person. But every time someone did it and they left a review, like, oh my God, it'll be this amazing. I'm like, all right, say less. Yeah. I know I've got something here.
What would you say the impact of having Keith Lee recently?
Do you know what, bro? Like, I mean, I think I don't know if you've seen the video where at the end I break down and I'm like, Keith Lee, God bless you, my brother, you preserved my manhood. Because I was in tears at the end of it. Yeah. The Keith Lee effect is real. Yeah. Before Keith Lee, I had 20 TikTok followers. I've now got 12,000 in like 3 weeks. Yeah. You know, I've been doing this thing for a long time and I've reached out to so many different UK-based food influencers. Hey guys, you know what? I'm doing this thing in Brixton. I'm trying to support the small black businesses here as an African and Caribbean food tour. You do food content, come down. Blah. Yeah. Oh yeah, OB, you know. Oh yeah, you know, you need to speak to my management. Oh yeah, I chopped £2,000 worth of poles. Some people just ghosted me completely. Yeah. So to have Keith Lee come down to Brixton. Yeah. You know, I remember when he walked around the corner and I was like, damn, you're here. Yeah. And he looked at me and he's just like, yeah, why wouldn't I be here? I'm like, you are probably one of the biggest food critics online, and you're here with me doing this tour. Yeah. So he does the tour, he has a great time, he says it's the best food tour he's ever done and everything else. And then it's like, look, Obi, I'm going to give you $1,000 because like what you're doing for your community, putting on these small businesses. And that's when I'm like, nah, bro, you can't behave yourself like that. Like, keep your money, fam. Yeah. It's like, no, like, I want you to have it. And then I just, like, to have him post on his own platform to say this is absolutely amazing, Obi's dope, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. Yeah. As I say, I went from 20 TikTok followers to 12,000. I've had so many people book now. I've got the private tour today with the University of Lancaster. I've got another group of people. I've got like another 6-7 people in the evening who are here for Usher and everything else. So every time something's going on now, it's like more and more people are seeing that. Like Keith Lee's used this spotlight to shine on me and what I'm doing. And now I've got food influencers and content creators. Yo, Obi, what's good? Yeah, man, we love what you're doing, bro. Yeah, man. Let's link together. Let's do content.
And you got the juice now.
Yeah. It is though.
It is what it is, bro.
I was saying earlier, no, bro. Do you know what? It's all love for me. Yeah. Like, there's no way I'm offended by it or like. I've actually reached out to people and like, look, no problem. If you want to come do the content, let's do the content. Because for me, I understand how the game works. You know, when you've only got 20 TikTok followers, you're looking at me thinking, well, I've got more to benefit than he does. Yeah. So it's all good. It's all love, man. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Now you mentioned Brixton, okay, as your hub for where you do your tours. Now, where was you brought up? Where was you raised?
So my dad's first house was on Ferndale Road. Okay.
For those who don't know, what area is that?
Brixton. Okay. Just around the corner from.
Around the corner from wherever.
Oh really? Yeah. Ferndale Road, just around the corner, and then moved to Santley Street.
Is that same Brixton as well?
Yeah, same Brixton as well. Just around the corner from. And then moved to Union Grove on Wandsworth Road, Stockwell.
Okay. Oh shit! You might know my auntie. There was another Igbo family there.
Yeah, where? On Union?
Yeah, she still lives there though.
Okay. Yeah. And then from there, when I was like...
How old are you now at this point?
So, 10, 11.
Okay.
And then moved to Brixton again, Tulsa.
How old are you now?
I'm 11 still. 11.
Okay.
So I'm still in Brixton now. Like family houses in Brixton and everything else now and everything else. So.
Okay. And when did you eventually move out of Brixton? Are you still?
Yeah. No. So I moved out of Brixton. So obviously went off to university. Went to Brunel University.
Okay. So up to the age of 18, you were still in Brixton.
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned environment earlier in the conversation.
Yeah.
Now, you've been raised in an area which at that time people will say was maybe a bit impoverished. They will say that
a bit impoverished.
Yeah, I'm just Now, when people say that we're dealt bad cards or we're products of our environment,
yes.
Not saying that I'm surprised that you speak well. You speak well. You articulate yourself well.
Thank you, sir.
One would argue and say that if you told someone you was from Brixton and you started speaking, they'll be like, "What part of Brixton are you from?" Now,
it's funny.
To what extent are we products of our environment? If you're from Brixton and you speak like this, and I'm just going to be frank, you've gone to university. How come you wasn't gangbanging? How come you wasn't out there?
Do you know what the thing is? Yeah.
What did it encourage? Why didn't you want to do that?
No. So, firstly, strict mum. Okay. But I was in the streets.
Okay.
But you get to a certain age in your life where you're like, do you know what? This doesn't make any sense. When you're seeing your friends getting banged up and everything else, you're like, do you know what? I want better for myself. You know, I've seen poverty. I've seen opening up the fridge and there's just one pot of stew and one pot of white rice and everything else. So it's like, well,
was the stew in the ice cream container?
Can't do the container. Open up, thinking, I'm feeling like ice cream. Can't do it. It's stew. But it's one of these things where, you know, my mum always wanted one of her children to go to university, and you know, the one thing about me is that I'm always going to try and make sure that Mumsy is happy and everything else. I'm like, you know what? Let me do what I can do, not realizing the disadvantages I had with the dyslexia and everything else. Me speaking well, I don't consider this speaking well. I just speak normally. You know, I was. If you're on the streets and you're like, yeah, man, fanboy, like that's not what. The English language is an English language. You speak as you normally speak. Like if you're surrounded by a certain environment, if you're in a certain environment and that's all you're going to be doing, then that's how you're going to speak. I was in that environment, but I was lucky enough to get out of it and then go off to university.
You say lucky?
Not lucky. Well, I say I was blessed enough to be able to go to university. So when I was
even blessed. No, but university is paid for by a student loan. So when you say blessed, I'm trying to figure out.
So when I'm going to give you let me give you the timeline. So when I was in secondary school, I was labelled as a no-hoper. I went to Lillian Bailey Secondary School. Yeah, exactly. I was, you know,
in them days, that was one of the worst. It's a good school now, but in them days there,
horror.
Yeah.
Us and Archbishop Tennyson's.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
I'm going home. There's a Tennyson man, you know. Listen.
Around the corner.
Honestly, when I was 13, 14, like I was labelled as a no-hope. I remember speaking to my teachers and saying I want to go to university. They laughed at me.
Okay.
For the Lord, this is how I know God is good. 3 of my teachers, my English teacher and one science teacher and one maths teacher, they went off on maternity leave.
Okay.
Who comes in to replace them? 3 Nigerian teachers.
Okay.
Brother, let me tell you something. I'm sitting down inside a class now, walking to English. I'm like, bro, Miss Hensman's not here.
Yeah.
I see one supply teacher, like,
yeah.
Yo, bring the cards out, play blackjack. Hear the teacher going through the register. Open now, when she pronounced all the syllables correctly. I looked up, I was like, nah, Mrs. Obi.
Yeah.
It says open now. I'm like, alright, here we go.
Yeah.
After class, stay here.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. After class, she's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, what are your plans? I'm like, what do you mean? After school, come here.
Yeah.
The science teacher, the maths teacher, the English teacher, Miss Ogunkuye, Miss Jibrano, Miss Ogunkuye, and I forget the name of the other teacher. If anyone can remember who she is, I think it was a maths teacher, please let me know. They're like, what's your plans? I'm like, you know, I want to go to university. They're like, your grades are not good.
Yeah.
And we're going to be honest with you. You need to go and do your A-levels. These times now, I've gone through 3-4 years or 2-3 years of being told you ain't gonna do nothing. To now be told you're gonna be doing A levels. I was gonna do BTEC. I was gonna do like a YTS and everything else, but that's what we were told to do. Anyway, cut long story short now, they've come down to my mum's house. They're like, oh, we'll come to see your mum. My mum, obviously, she's like, well, he's going to school, he's learning. They're like, no. My mum's like, look, if you have to flog him, they're like, no, auntie, we can't flog him. But, so they helped me get my grades up to go to college. I went to Lambeth College, Norwood, to do my A levels. I did an A level in business studies, sociology, and law. And that's where I kind of started meeting different peoples and everything else. I met one of my earth angels called Juliet, Auntie Juliet. I hope you're watching this. She goes to university. She was at Brunel University, and they in our law class was doing this like, you know when they do like, it's not like an open day, but it's like if you're interested in doing blah blah blah, go down. Like you don't have to come to law. So I'm like, right, okay, I could skip double law. I went into this thing and I met Juliet there. She's like, oh look, you know, I'm at Brunel University and everything. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And we kind of connected. And then she got me to come up to Brunel University for like a day trip and everything else. And I looked around like, right, okay, there's some black people here, not many. And I always had this vision of my mind in my head of, you know, like American Pie, you see them on the college campus throwing the football and everything. I was like, that's what I wanted to do. I'm gonna wear, you know, the Letterman jacket and everything. I got there, it was a completely different thing. And I was like, do you know what, I definitely want to do this. And you know, she helped me do my UCAS forms and everything else. She put me in contact with different people. And then I got into university, and then from there my social circles changed because I came out of Brixton and now in an environment for like 3-4 years with different people. Like I'm in a classroom with lots more white people than I've ever.
But you know what's mad here? So you lot were probably the first batch that caused the wave. Because after that, it just became very black. It became very black.
I went to university at a time when the local council, Lambeth in Brixton, they actually paid for me to go to school.
As in school or university?
University.
Okay.
Yeah, so they stopped.
Was it like a grant or something?
No. They paid for me to go to university. There was no grant or anything else. Okay. So I think it was 1999, 2000 was when they stopped paying, and then people had to pay like £3,000 to go to university and everything else.
It started off at 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5. Okay.
Yeah,
so what had happened? It was means tested. So if your parents could prove that they were under a certain cap and threshold, the local council would pay for you to go to university. Okay. So my mum was underneath that threshold, so they're like, right, okay, we'll pay for your tuition, we'll give you, I think I got like grant, they gave me £2,000 a term to live on for books and accommodation and everything else. And then on top of that, I had a small part-time job whilst I was at university. So that's my whole university journey. Like basically being in that environment allowed me to network and
did you stay on campus then?
That 1999 you said?
So I graduated in 99, I went in 96.
96. I'm trying to see how much university was around that time.
It should be free. It should be free if it was means tested. But I didn't stay on campus because my college grade, my A-level grades were not good enough to get me to my first choice, which was Westminster University. Okay. The Westminster University turned me down, but University of North London said, come through with your grades.
It was free, you know. University was free.
I told you.
Back in 1996.
Yeah, I told you.
For domestic students.
Yeah, I told you. University of North London said, come through. But then one of my friends told me, he'd managed to get into Brunel through clearing. I'm like, Brunel. I'm like, that's a better university, you know. Nothing against North London University and anyone that went to North London University. So I was just like,
North London Met.
That's what I went, London Met.
No offense.
Holloway Road,
on Holloway Road,
London Met.
So I end up going to London Met, North London University. I said, look, I don't want to come here anymore. It's like, oh well, why not? I'm like, well, I don't want to come here. But you're an insurance university. I'm like, no. And then I applied to Brunel through clearing, and they let me go through to Brunel because that's where my earth angel Juliet went to. That's where she took me for that open day, and it kind of all worked out for me. And then, as I say, being in that environment, got to meet different peoples, different backgrounds, different like white folk that were doing like their parents were. I'm like, okay, so there's a different side to life than just.
And I think it's interesting you mentioned that because sometimes we're boxed in our environment from what we see, and then once we step out of it, it's like, oh wow, there's actually a different world out of it. And how much of it would you say changed your perspective on life when you started mingling and mixing with different people?
Massively. You know, You just said Leland Bailey's was one of the worst schools.
Yeah.
I was in a classroom, 30 kids, majority of us were black. And then I'm now in an environment where I'm in a university lecture hall and there's 200 people and there's probably 4 or 5 black people in there.
Yeah.
So you're now having, remember I said about being able to adapt to your situations, being smart enough to deal with the cards. So it's like, right, okay, intelligent enough to adapt to your environment. You're good, dude. You're very good. I can see why you're here.
Could you keep downplaying it? I mean, I don't know if you're trying to do fake humble.
No, honestly, bro. Honestly, the one thing about me is that I always give thanks and glory to God first. I'm always a humble guy. I'm never going to sit down there and say it's me, because without the Lord, nothing is possible. So, I'm just able to be in that situation and say, right, okay, I know where I am now. I'm not in Brixton. I'm not in Lillian Bailey's. I'm not in Norwood College. These are the people that I have to parlay with for the next 3-4 years. Rather than me having a chip on my shoulder, being a rude boy and everything else, let me try and find out who these people are and what they do. You know, networking is networking. You just never know who sat in a room next to you. So it's like, well, hold on, yeah, my dad's a doctor. Oh, my dad's this, my dad's like, right, okay, you man got dads in your family. You know what I mean? It's like, it sounds mad.
The same shit.
It sounds mad, but you're just like, what? And you see your dad every day.
You wake up to him like he's there.
Yeah, he's around. He's got clothes.
This ain't meant to be funny.
It's a real talk. Like I'm talking to people, and I'm finding out things that.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's like, oh, you must in the summer must come over, and I'm going to people's houses. I'm like, you got East Wing and West Wing.
East and West Wing, you know.
Dad's there making food and like.
That's there. What? Whoa.
Dad cooks.
In the middle of the day.
He's got clothes in the house. Wow.
I'm just like, okay. So for me, having been exposed to that, I'm like, okay. I want better for myself. I want better for my family and everything else. I want to be around. I don't want my kids to go to university and be like, just me and mumsy